this afternoon is Martin Berry, with his speech entitled Cable TV Killed the Video Star. So with his speech entitled Cable TV Killed the Video Star, please welcome Martin Berry.
My story begins back in the Thatcher era. I was a young man then, and not long married. Now I know that coal miners weren't very happy, but for me, life was pretty sweet. You see, I still had a full head of hair. My wife still likes me. And she agreed to intimacy 2 times a year. Back then I thought, surely it doesn't get much better than this. And I was right, because it didn't. But then things started to take a bit of a downturn, because my wife started having babies. Lots of babies! Every 6 months, another baby. In the lounge, you didn't know where to put your feet. Oh, sorry, love. Sorry, darling. But then it got worse, because my wife had to give up her job. And that's when the family finances got a lot stickier. At the time, I thought to myself, if only I had some sort of part-time business, something that would bring in a bit more cash, help me make ends meet. And then one day, I noticed one of the babies was sitting on a particularly interesting advertisement. It said, become part of the video revolution with Variety Rack and have your very own retail video sales business. It sounded so exciting. It sounded so glamorous. It sounded so exactly like what I was looking for. So I called them on the phone. Sorry about this, phones were a lot slower. When I got through, I made an appointment to visit them at their offices in Wembley. And they introduced me to a short, fat, balding man who was full of judges. Full of his own self-importance. He sat there, puffing a cigar, and he said, Mr. Berry, we've got a fabulous deal for you. It's what we call a turnkey setup. You see, you don't have to do a thing. We do it all for you. We're going to set you up with 10 retail sites, and each site will have a video display of 48 videos. All you've got to do is call on the sites, top up the stock, and collect that cash. I was seduced by his slick professionalism. So I signed the paperwork, I handed over my check, and we shook hands. I'd always been keen on movies and videos, and now I would have my own part-time business doing something that I loved. I couldn't wait to get started. I was really excited, and when the cartons arrived containing my stock, my anticipation had reached bursting point. But when I opened the cartons and started to look at the videos, I couldn't help noticing something. Because the titles were very similar to well-known films, but just a little bit different. For example, The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, their version was called The Good, the Bad and the Naughty. Driving Miss Daisy, their version was called Driving Miss Randy. And the Disney classic, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, that was also slightly different. As I sat there, pricing 10 copies of Saving Ryan's Privates, I suddenly realised something. I'd just become a distributor of softcore porn! But for me, there was no turning back. I had to go through with it because Variety Rack already had my money. I needed a return on my investment. So despite complaints from my wife, I got ready to make my first call. I walked up to the shopkeeper and I said, "Hi, I'm Martin from Variety Rack and I've come to restock your videos." But the shopkeeper didn't smile back. He said, "And you can flipping well take them away again as well, mate. I'm not having that muck in my shop." That Cockney shopkeeper wasn't the only one. 4 others wanted to quit, and 2 of them wouldn't even display the videos. But it wasn't all bad news. There was one big petrol station in Marlow Bottom. And when I walked in, there were loads of gaps in his display. And he said, "It's about time you got here, mate. I've nearly run out of stock." Over the next couple of months, I started to get a feel for the business. And the shopkeepers started to get a feel for it as well. Instead of saying things like, "When are you going to take them away?" now they were saying things like, "Have you got any girl with girl videos?" And I said, "How about this one? Sister Action." And they'd even say things like, "Have you got any videos that are a bit stronger?" And I'd say, "All my videos are made out of rigid polycarbonate. Can stand with a fall of 3 feet or less." I ran my video business for quite a few years, and it gave me a great source of part-time income. But eventually, the coming of DVD, satellite and cable TV, even the internet, meant the end of the video cassette and the end of my video business. But I'm not going to cry about it, because I kept 1 or 2 of the really good ones. Madam Contest Chair.